Medicaid.
In the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Medicaid has been the ACA's clear success story.
Medicare and Medicaid cover an enormous swath of the American people. Between the two of them, they account for 4 of every $10 that we spend on healthcare. Medicaid covers more than 80 million people now. It passed Medicare a couple of years ago, pays for 1 out of every 3 births. It's a very broad safety net for without which many Americans would not have health coverage.
Medicare and Medicaid, they're, of course, very different programs, but what they have in common is that they're programs that were started by and continue to operate by the federal and state governments and provide healthcare to a lot of people who, if not for those programs, would have a really difficult time getting access to healthcare.
Action now, updating and improving the Affordable Care Act to lower cost and ensure options for families. We Democrats take great pride in the success of the ACA lowering costs, protecting the health and financial security of families. Covered, more than 20 million previously uninsured Americans are covered. We talk about the additional names, numbers, that's important. But what is also important are the over 100 million people, 150 million people who have expanded benefits at lower cost and more access under the Affordable Care Act.
The recent Center for American Progress report found that closing the Medicaid coverage gap, so in the 12 states that haven't expanded Medicaid, there's a Medicaid coverage gap where about 2.2 million people can't access Medicaid because of the state they live in. Closing that gap would result in 7,000 lives saved per year. It would result in 50,000 fewer evictions. It would result in a $2 billion reduction in medical debt.
Yeah, well, there was a famous study some years ago in Oregon where they expanded Medicaid coverage to some people, but not others. They didn't have enough money. So it created a natural experiment. One of the things they found out was, to their surprise, there was not a large difference in healthcare status, but there was obviously a large increase in financial status, that people were much likely to have unpaid medical bills or to declare bankruptcy, that was a big help to their mental health in terms of concerns about money. How much you have to spend on medical care and your own health status affects every other aspect of what you do in your life. So having healthcare, we're one of the only industrialized countries where having healthcare is not a right, that it is a privilege.
There's a lot of problems with immigrants not being able to access services. And the sad part about it is that once somebody is in the US, they're sort of the public's, responsibility. People say, oh, we don't want to, send a lot of foreign aid to other countries. Once somebody is in the country, they're your neighbors. It's sort of not the best public policy to then say, oh, because we're afraid this might encourage more people to come to the US, that there's going to be lower provision of public services.
States can basically say, we know that this is really expensive and a lot of people need it, but we don't have enough money to cover all of it, so we're just going to make a lot of people wait, or we're going to limit how much they get, or we're going to limit how much we pay, which means that some healthcare providers might not participate in the program. There are a lot of different ways to sort of limit government expenditures that end up limiting people's ability to get healthcare.
I think that's one of the big problems faced in Medicare and in Medicaid, is that there's infinite needs and not infinite resources.
It's also associated with when families are covered, there's better coverage for everyone involved. So children whose parents are covered by Medicaid are more likely to get their regular well-child checkup visits compared to children whose parents are uninsured. And, it's associated with reduced mortality for a number of cancers. And so coverage itself, has this greater impact on the financial and social well-being of people in terms of the Medicaid program.
This generation of Americans chose to finish the job, to turn the page on a past when our citizens could be denied coverage just for being sick, to close the books on a history where tens of millions of Americans had no hope of finding decent, affordable health care, had to hang their chances on fate. We chose to write a new chapter where in a new economy, Americans are free to change their jobs or start a business, chase a new idea, raise a family, free from fear.